This story kicks off in a time when people are vibing in space and hopping around galaxies beyond Earth. A squad of bounty hunters, known as the S-Devils, pulls up to a sketchy location hunting down some dude. But instead of leads, they're hit with a nasty surprise. The planet is dripping in radiation and toxic waste, which pretty much screams that their guy can't possibly be here. Their boss, Seryong, aka the Blazing Devil, and also their spaceship captain, turns to her android co-pilot Sunja, who's steering the ship, and asks if they've landed at the wrong spot. Sunja, with that deadpan robot energy, says they got the planet number straight from the client, and yeah, this is the exact place they were told to hit. No glitches, no wrong turns, just straight up Earth. The ship halts midair as Sunja confirms they've reached their planned destination, Earth, the same planet they aimed for in the first place. Seryong starts fuming and calls out Robert, one of the squad members, straight up accusing him of being a thief for giving her busted info. Robert squints through the ship's window at the trash heap below and admits something feels off. He's convinced it's the right location, but even he looks thrown off by the state of Earth, completely wrecked, glowing with radiation, totally unlivable. Seryong keeps glaring, pointing out how the place is saturated in radiation and doesn't even have a whiff of oxygen. She demands to know how the hell a high-value criminal could be hiding out in a place like that. Robert just keeps staring at the planet, low-key speechless. Then she reminds him it's not just any target, it's a high-ranking member of the Black Blood gang. Robert finally mumbles that it seems to be true, even though none of it adds up. Seryong is about to lose it. She starts cursing under her breath. Robert, sweating bullets now, admits the intel came from a raid by someone named Hoa Moon, who hit the beggar's sex main system. So yeah, it's supposed to be solid. She shifts her gaze to Sunja, who's scanning the planet's activity, and asks for her take. Sunja, cold as ever, says that if their target really came to this place, it'd only be to end his own life. She breaks down the stats like a true android. Oxygen levels at 23.76%, radiation contamination sitting at a chill 87 sieverts. Basically, the planet is a perfect spot to die. That brutal honesty kills what little hope Seryong had left, and she asks if any human could actually survive down there. Sunja lays it out. If the person has an ultra-high-end radiation shield and a heavy-duty energy core that cycles multiple rounds, then maybe. But that maybe only buys them around 6 hours max before they're toast. Seryong just stares at her, totally dead inside because that is not the vibe she was expecting. The whole trip's starting to feel like a waste. She shoots Robert another death glare, but tells him she'll give him one last pass. Then she asks what he plans to do if they land and find absolutely nothing. She wants to know if he's ready to risk his life for this screw-up. Robert stumbles back, caught off guard by that, and nervously asks if she's seriously expecting him to just throw his life away like that. Seryong snaps and says they're going down to check anyway. But if they don't find their target, Robert better start digging his own grave because he's done for. Robert tries to flip the mood, mentioning that Sunja did detect a human life signal coming from under the planet's surface. But Seryong is already fed up, and his optimism does nothing to chill her out. Seryong and Robert pull up a portal and step into what's left of Earth, which looks like it's been abandoned for ages. Sunja reads out the coordinates of a life form still active down there and sends them straight in. Over the comms, she explains that the wreck they're standing on used to be called Mount Tai. True to the name, it's some ancient mountain spot that's literally built on a mountain. Seryong and Robert just stand there, soaking in how wrecked everything looks. Hearing the name Mount Tai catches Seryong off guard, and she checks with Sunja if it's that Mount Tai, the one everyone knows. Sunja confirms, yep, that exact one. The same spot those dusty old relics from the Martial Alliance used to call a legendary sanctuary. Also happens to be the origin point of the Mount Tai star system. Seryong is thrown off even more hearing that it's linked to the so-called grand people who founded the Martial Alliance, which was built to keep intergalactic peace. But now their so-called sacred sanctuary looks like a giant dumpster fire. The captain casually calls those Alliance founders a bunch of old geezers and wonders why they can't even bother to clean up their legendary backyard, considering how rich they are. Robert shrugs it off, says those dudes are all mouth and zero grind. They never lift a finger unless there's profit on the line. While they're working, Sunja updates them. They've reached the exact spot where the life signal was pinging from. Except all they see is an empty stretch of land, just sand and trash all over. Seryong tells her it's a whole lot of nothing out here, but Sunja insists there's something, or someone, alive right beneath their feet. The captain just stares at the ground, trying to wrap her head around how someone's even surviving under all that mess. She leans in, touches the ground, thinking if she should just blast it open right there. Robert's confused, starts asking what she's even talking about, what she's trying to pull. Seryong ignores him and just checks again if there's actually something alive down there. Then, out of nowhere, she powers up her internal energy drive strapped around her waist to fire off a groundbreaking blast. The energy drives this weird device that lets humans tap into ancient martial energy. As it kicks in, green energy starts surging around her and covering the area where she's crouched. Seryong's thinking how she would have been dead already from suffocation if she was the one stuck under all that dirt. She gives the go-ahead to send all that power downward, and her eyes flash. The martial energy rips through the ground, blasting a tunnel right beneath their feet, sending sand flying everywhere. Some of that sand ends up burying Robert, who clearly had no clue she was about to nuke the ground. Still half buried, he just groans and tells her maybe next time give him a damn warning so he can dip out of the way. Seryong just stares into the hole, looking hella disturbed, probably wondering if there's actually anything buried under all that sand. She and Robert just stand there in front of this massive pit, both totally unsure about the next move. Seryong throws a quick signal to Sunja, asking if there's still any signs of life down there, low-key hoping she didn't accidentally nuke someone. Sunja replies she's picking up a weak signal, but yeah, there's still life under them. Plus, she adds there's a pretty big space down below, which screams secret underground base vibes. Robert suggests they drop the electronic ladder and go down, but before he can even finish the sentence, Seryong straight up dives in like she's in an action flick, catching him completely off guard. He just watches her go and mutters that she's always got that spicy attitude. Seryong lands at the bottom, and Robert follows right after, wondering what kind of lunatic he ended up working for. They immediately come face to face with this massive, old-school door, totally covered in some ancient script. Turns out, the creepy message carved on the door is by some guy named Lee Mok-jin, and it basically says, "The world fears me and locked me away with the great dharma of some secret teachings, and if anyone's dumb enough to wake me up, they're getting clapped first." Robert stares at it, confused as hell, so the captain signals Sunja to flex her AI magic. She scans it and says it's an ancient language that's over 2,000 years old, and the quick translation is basically, "Don't open unless you got a death wish." That line makes Robert all hyped, acting like his big brain finally paid off. He's convinced their target wrote that warning himself. Seryong hits him with a reality check, pointing out how dumb it is to write a threat in a language no one can read. Robert starts stammering something about it possibly being the guy they're after. Seryong tells him they can't be 100% sure, but honestly, a warning like that is probably a good sign. It means there's something juicy behind the door. She steps forward like a badass, saying the threat just proves there's something worth protecting. She places both hands on the door, and boom, a loud rumble echoes out as the door swings open on its own. They just stand there, not sure what the hell is going on, but move forward anyway. Inside is some massive underground structure that gives off temple vibes. Right up front, sitting on this podium, is a creature that looks like a damn furball from hell. It's got human legs, but the rest is just long, tangled hair covering everything else. Robert clocks it immediately and starts analyzing. The legs are human, but the rest is not even close. Seryong doesn't even flinch. She's just staring like this is it. She walks up the stairs toward the creature, totally fearless, trying to figure out what exactly it is. As she reaches the top, the creature still doesn't react. It just sits there, straight chilling like it doesn't even know they're there. When she leans in for a closer look, she spots a nose under all that hair. Yep, that's a dude. Somehow, some way, it's a man under that whole mess. But how the hell did he survive under all that rubble for this long? Robert's still lying on the ground, barely moving, and he's trying to figure out if the thing in front of him is alive or even human. Then it hits him. This thing's been buried for like 2,000 years, so no way it's still breathing. Meanwhile, Seryong's just staring at the creature like it's a glitched-out NPC, totally motionless, and she's got no clue what to make of it. It's giving zero signs of life. Dead silent. She decides to quit guessing and just pokes it. Literally. Reaches out and gently boops its nose, hoping for any kind of reaction. But nah, still frozen. The thing doesn't even twitch. And then boom, shit gets weird. Out of nowhere, purple lightning starts crackling from the exact spot she touched. Like she just hit some kind of power switch. Her eyes go wide, totally blindsided. The creature's eyes flare up with this fiery red glow, and the purple lightning spreads like wildfire from its body. It's standing there like some Greek god, just casually waking up from a nap. Seryong jumps back fast, throws up her palm, and blasts energy toward it on instinct because she still has no clue what the hell this thing is. The creature doesn't dodge or flinch. Instead, it pops up a damn energy field right between her palm and itself like some cosmic shield. She's stunned, but lets the energy beam fly anyway. The blast slams into the barrier, and it straight up detonates. The explosions weigh too much for such close range. The creature catches that wild energy, levels it up, and slings it right back. Boom! The whole underground lab gets lit up. Another giant hole rips through the ground, straight above them. The beam's so insane, it launches into space and zips right past the S-Devil aircraft. Even Sun just sees it. That blast barely misses the ship, off by just a few meters. If it were parked anywhere else, it would have been toasted. The explosion instantly gets Sunja's attention. She starts yelling over the comms, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. She's calling Captain Seryong, demanding answers, wanting to know what she triggered. But radio silence. No one's answering. Sunja keeps calling out to both Seryong and Robert, but nothing. Panic starts kicking in. While she's yelling over the comms, Seryong's laid out on the floor a few meters away from the podium. That explosion launched her. Her radiation shields got cracks, and she's bleeding from somewhere. She crawls back, slumps against a wall, still completely shook. Nearby, Robert's also down cold, blasted unconscious by the impact. Seryong looks up and locks eyes on the creature that's now standing right in front of her. It's upright, walking toward her, and somehow still looking fresh like nothing even touched it. Then it speaks, asking who she is. But Seryong's too stunned to talk. She just lays there, silently staring at it. The creature then booms out asking who dared to wake him. Still no response. Seryong's stuck, mind blank, still trying to process whatever this thing is. The creature starts overthinking like this whole situation is some kind of personal beef. It wonders if this rude awakening was a straight-up challenge. If maybe, just maybe, a martial artist strong enough to rival him has finally popped up. Time passes and Seryong's just sitting there on the ground, still totally clueless about what's coming next. Meanwhile, Robert's out cold, completely unaware of the chaos going on. The creature tells Seryong to speak up and respond, but she's just staring at him all confused, not understanding a damn word he's saying. Then this man-looking creature gets pushy, demanding to know why she woke him up in the first place. Seryong suddenly gets pissed that she can't make sense of anything he's saying, so she flips on her real-time translation mode. The creature lifts his hands. Yep, he definitely looks human, and she hears him drop a straight-up death threat if she doesn't answer. He clearly doesn't get that she doesn't speak his language. That threat wakes her up real quick. She tries to get on her feet, but he throws out the same warning again, still threatening to kill her if she stays silent. At that point, the captain snaps into action and fires off beams of lightning at him, trying to figure out what kind of monster she's up against. Her strike causes this huge explosion, blasting the creature and roasting him in heavy heat. She conjures up another ball of explosive energy, tells him to drop dead, and just starts chucking back-to-back blasts at him. The attacks keep swallowing him in fire and smoke as she hopes it'll be enough to finish him off. The whole cave turns into a dust bowl with sand flying everywhere from her non-stop explosive rampage. Eventually, she runs out of steam and decides to take a break. She starts breathing hard, trying to calm herself down, and then her internal drive system hits her with a warning. She's fried the system from using up 1.2 cycles when she only had 1.14 spare. Out of nowhere, the creature crawls out of the wreckage like it's no big deal. 0 damage, just strutting toward her. At the same time, Seryong's energy system gives her the heads up to recharge fast if she wants to keep fighting. But the creature just stands there, not a single hair out of place. The captain's eyes widen. She's genuinely shocked he's still in perfect shape after getting blasted that hard. The creature then breaks down her moves, calling out the Quantum Golden Summit Divine Art and the Red Mist Divine Palm. He points out that even though those are Emi-sect techniques, hers are clearly scuffed with a bunch of flaws, like she swiped them off some ancient corpse. Straight up says she's just a thief scraping by on grave-robbing skills, and yeah, he's definitely pissed. Then he suddenly starts levitating and gets wrapped in this purple aura, stirring up a nasty whirlwind inside the cave. Seryong just stands there frozen in horror since she's completely out of juice. The creature throws shade again, asking what some petty thief like her is doing disturbing his eternal nap. His purple energy keeps ramping up and Seryong watches, scared out of her mind, convinced he's about to wreck her. Then he goes full villain mode, says she's gonna die, and fires off his attack. But right when everything's about to go to hell, something wild happens. Seryong crashes to the ground from the shock, and the creature just faceplants out of nowhere, flat on the floor, like he's dead. Seryong just stays where she is, staring in disbelief, trying to process what the hell just happened. The same dude who was about to kill her a second ago is now cold. Then a voice pops up behind her, saying the creature probably died. It's Robert, finally awake from his nap. He tells her it makes sense that the creature croaked after being exposed to the planet's radiation without any kind of protective field. Still, he's surprised the guy held out that long before finally dropping. Sunja straight up tells them the creature's still alive since its breathing and heartbeat are totally normal. Robert's caught off guard and wants to know why the hell it just collapsed out of nowhere. Sunja runs a scan and says the creature looks like it passed out from straight-up energy burnout. Physically, it's fine, but the weird battery in its stomach is completely drained, which just adds more confusion to Robert's already fried brain. Seryong also shook after hearing it fainted from hunger, like it's been running on empty all this time. She's still slumped against the wall, wiped out from using all her own energy. As she and Robert stare at the motionless creature, she casually drops the idea that it probably just blacked out from hunger, meaning it hasn't eaten in like 2,000 years. Hours later, they're back at the aircraft, and Robert's going off. He's protesting to Seryong, losing it over why she dragged that thing onto the ship. He yells that they should have left it rotting in that creepy-ass cave, especially after it snapped and went full psycho earlier. He reminds her how it went berserk like it was possessed, and killing it felt harder than nuking a damn cockroach. He even throws in that at least a radioactive cockroach might be worth some change, but this chaotic beast is a whole L, and they've got no reason to babysit it. Meanwhile, everyone's staring at the creature, which Seryong has wrapped up in some next-level bindings to keep it from spazzing out. She insists that things got value. Robert and Sunja just shoot her dead stares, totally blank, waiting for some kind of explanation. But she just stands there while the monster's still laying out in front of them, silent. Then she casually drops the bomb. It's not just worth money, it's worth hella money. The two of them are visibly stunned by that, not getting what she's aiming at. Seryong then flips the convo and asks them what the most valuable cultural treasure they've got today is. Sunja answers that ancient martial arts take the crown. She says the closer a style is to its original roots, the higher the price tag. Seryong's like, exactly, and goes off explaining that based on the writing on the walls of that cave, this fuzzball they found is a 2,000-year-old martial artist. That era was pure legend, a golden age of martial arts. Even the trash tier F to G grade moves from that time can sell for 10,000 credits. But this guy's no bottom feeder. He's definitely not rocking FG level. He's more like Grandmaster tier, probably S rank, or even beyond. Robert immediately catches on and blurts that if this dude really is S rank, they just hit the cosmic jackpot. Only catch now is if this walking nuke wakes up mid-flight. Seryong brushes it off, flexing that she tied him down with celestial silkworm threads, the same stuff used in spaceship repairs. She's bragging that even the Shaolin sect's top dog couldn't cut through that stuff if he tried. Seconds later, there's this ripping sound. Seryong freezes mid-sentence, slowly turning around, hoping it's not what it sounds like. But yeah, of course it is. The creature's just standing there, having shredded her prized silkworm threads like a piece of snack wrapper. And now it's staring them down with full-on death glare energy. It starts going off, throwing threats, calling them low-tier grave robbers who had the audacity to mess with him. Flames start building around him again, and he's ready to turn them all into ashes. Seryong's cussing up a storm as she pulls out her sword, totally blindsided that he broke free so easily. Robert's flipping too, already throwing blame her way, telling her he warned her this exact thing would go down. While the squad's gearing up to throw hands again, things suddenly take a weird turn. The creature starts glowing like he's charging up a final boss move, ready to roast them. But then Sunja casually walks in front of him, holding a plate stacked with grilled hot dogs. The scent hits the air, thick and delicious, filling up the ship like food heaven. Robert and Seryong just stand there in stunned silence as things flip in an instant. Instead of attacking, the creature locks onto the plate and immediately starts inhaling the hot dogs like he hasn't seen food in decades. He crashes down onto their table, munching like a maniac, totally ignoring the humans around him. Seryong turns to Sunja and asks how she even knew that would work. Sunja just shrugs and says it was pretty obvious. The guy's been starving forever. She adds that nothing beats sausages when it comes to feeding a hungry beast. The others just stand there, stunned by her genius-level thinking and smooth reaction. Meanwhile, the ship floats quietly near Earth, which they'd just left a short while ago. A few moments later, the creature's having a surprisingly chill convo with the S-Devil bounty hunters. He repeats what they told him earlier, that they're not grave robbers, just some bounty hunters who accidentally woke him up. Just to clear things up, he also asked about the whole deal where they said this world is like 2,000 years ahead of his time, and how humans basically went full chaos mode, wrecked the world, and ended up vibing in the skies. Seryong tells him things have calmed down since then, because people finally decided to ditch all weapons, including nukes, and just stick to martial arts. Our guy's like, what even are nuclear weapons, since he's from way back and has no clue. Still trying to figure stuff out. He asks what the current era is called. Seryong looks at him confused because nobody calls it an era anymore. She just says it's the year 1105 in the Galactic calendar. The creature's not letting it slide and throws some sarcasm about the Galactic year thing. Like maybe they all live in the sky too, because their stories sound way too wild to be real. They assume he's finally starting to piece things together, so Seryong drops the big reveal again. They woke him up after 2,000 years, and he should be feeling major gratitude right now. But nah. He's just annoyed by her words and the whole backstory, calling it straight-up nonsense. He claps back, asking who she even thinks she's talking to, like does she even know who he is. He says they're nothing but third-rate grave robbers trying to mess with his head using trash-tier lies. The dude starts heating up again, threatening to burn them to a crisp if they keep spitting lies. The bounty hunters just point toward a nearby ship window, silently telling him to check it out. He turns around and locks eyes on the site they were talking about. And boom, he's stunned. Right there, outside the window, he sees a radiation-soaked Earth with the sun chilling far off in the distance. Seryong casually tells him to look closely at that planet, first calling him Fuzzball, then switching to Grandpa and Master real quick. She tells him that's his home planet, the one he lived on. He stares at it, jaw probably on the floor, asking if that wrecked planet is really the same world he came from. Seryong confirms it's totally screwed now. As the creature walks closer to the window for a better look, she tries to give him a soft landing and asks if he believes them now after seeing the wreckage with his own eyes. Suddenly, the guy starts burning again and says even if he wanted to believe them, they seriously cannot expect him to think the ground he used to stand on is actually round. The captain just bonks herself in the head, like wow, this guy might be dumber than expected. Robert's just standing there stunned, and now the whole ship's filled with a nasty stench of the creature's body and hair. Seryong is mentally screaming, wondering where that foul smell is coming from. She covers her nose fast and tells him he can get the rest of the answers later, but first, he needs a damn shower. Maybe a haircut too, since they're stuck together for a while. Our guy's confused, asking what a shower is, since that was not a thing back in his timeline. Seryong breaks it down real simple and tells him to just go take a bath. The three bounty hunters wait outside, while the ancient man enjoys some much-needed scrub time. Dude's old, so he's in no rush. While he's chilling in the bath, they leave some clothes nearby for him to wear afterward. Robert asks the captain why she didn't just let the guy keep his wild hair. Meanwhile, inside, the guy's chopping it all off, and it's just piling on the floor like a hair massacre. Robert starts telling Seryong he's kind of worried that some dusty old corpse is going to come crawling out of the bathroom with all that hair gone. But mid-sentence, he stops. The guy just stepped out, and Seryong freezes too. New guy comes out looking fresh, water dripping, drying his hair with a hot towel. No monster vibes, just a clean, chiseled body. The towel drops away from his face, and bam, he's got that flawless pretty boy face, jet black earrings, and a toned, muscular frame. He doesn't even notice the two of them staring like statues and casually asks if there's more of the food he had earlier. Seryong's eyes go wide because she was expecting some grumpy beast, not a full-on handsome man. And now she's sitting there wondering who the hell this guy really is. Later on, the ship keeps zooming through space, leaving Earth's zone behind and heading off to who knows where. The new guy's basically glued to the window, eyes wide, just vibing with the view of all those celestial bodies. First time seeing space up close like this. He's thinking this really is the sky. Turns out they weren't messing with him. He remembers how he used to whine about the world feeling tiny, but now it hits him. It's massive and weird as hell. Out of nowhere, someone grabs his face. He turns and sees Seryong pinching his cheeks like it's her hobby, just blankly staring at him. She frowns and tells him to cough up his age, throwing in that his hibernation years don't count, just so he gets the memo. While the captain is doing her interrogation, Robert and Sunja are off to the side, low-key watching the whole thing go down, confused as hell by the weird vibe. Eventually, they pull up to this wild-looking building built into an actual asteroid, chilling in the Pleiades cluster. Yep, that star clump in the Milky Way. The place is called the Asteroid Space Tavern, where all kinds of space drifters come to unwind. Inside the tavern is named the Wild Crane, where folks are eating and chugging drinks downstairs. Sunja's just chilling at a table when her face goes full horror movie. She sees something wild enough to make her freeze. The new guy is sitting there, dead-ass stuffing 6 whole hot dogs in his mouth at once, with a literal mountain of hot dogs still in front of him. Robert leans toward her, whispering how the hell a human can even do that, and Sunja drops the info. Dude's been starving for 2,000 years. Robert's looking more stressed now, wondering if he's really about to eat 2,000 years worth of food in one go just to kill the hunger. Sunja says, judging by the way he's demolishing those plates, that's probably the case. The second the guy finishes clearing everything, he turns and stares at the bounty hunters, fully expecting a round 2. Meanwhile, the innkeeper, Wang the 18th, keeper of the Wild Crane, starts talking with Seryong. He's clearly intrigued by whatever she's about to drop. He checks with her if she's really hunting for a broker. Seryong confirms, adding that it's got to be someone filthy rich and iron tough because the thing she's trying to sell is insanely rare and valuable. Wang cracks a little joke, asking what the hell she's carrying that's got the usually chill, blazing devil acting like she's on fire. Seryong casually asks how much a full set of 2,000-year-old martial arts manuscripts would be worth. Originals, all S rank. That line makes Wang sit up a little straighter, his eyes narrowing, cigarette halfway to his mouth. He pauses, lights up again, and lets the smoke swirl while he processes the bomb she just dropped. Later, Wang is seen sitting solo after Seryong dips from the meeting. One of the nearby guards slides over and asks if what she said could actually be true. The guard keeps rambling that S-rank originals from 2,000 years ago would be worth an insane amount. Wang just keeps puffing away and tells him straight up, the manuscripts are worth 0 credits. The guard, kind of stunned, repeats himself to make sure he heard that right, saying stuff like those books could literally go for a fortune. But Wang doubles down, says again that they're worth exactly 0. He breaks it down. If those things were real, even a single book could buy an entire planet, maybe more. He throws shade at the idea that some mid-tier bounty hunter like the Blazing Devil magically got her hands on a whole collection of them. Basically calls BS. Then tells the guard to stop dreaming and show them the door. Meanwhile, Seryong slides back to the table and asks where Sunja suddenly disappeared to. Robert tells her she went out to grab more supplies and asks how things went with the innkeeper. Seryong's eyes light up, saying the convo was chill. She even drops that Wang promised to hit them up the moment he find a buyer. But then her attention snaps forward. Right there in front of them, the new guy's just lounged out on one of the benches, totally posted up with a mountain of trash plates piled in front of him. Looks like he soloed that whole feast. Captain Seryong looks at Robert and says there's no way he scarfed all that down, hoping her eyes are just bugging out. Robert shrugs and says they're lucky he finally stopped eating. The captain throws her hands on her head in full regret mode, mumbling that she would have done something else if they weren't about to make bank off this guy. While she's still ranting, the tavern door suddenly slams open. The loud bang gets everyone's attention, and all eyes turn to see who just pulled up. Some dudes stroll in, rocking matching outfits, and giving off major bad news energy. Seryong instantly clocks them, the tension hitting different. She knows these serious-looking men. They're from a group called the Heavenly Demon Sect. Wild name, demon and heaven in the same breath. The squad's leader starts scanning the room like he's got someone specific in mind. He's checking the people sitting around through some futuristic lens tech. Meanwhile, Seryong confirms that the guy doing the scanning is none other than San Jinwei, the leader of the Red Wolf squad under the Heavenly Demon Sect. Robert backs that up and mentions that the Red Wolf platoon are basically the inspectors for the Demon Sect. He asks what they're doing here, so Seryong tells him they specialize in tracking, so they're probably on someone's tail. She leans in and whispers not to make eye contact with them unless they're trying to get cooked. Our guy overhears them whispering and casually joins in, asking if they just mentioned a demon sect. Seryong turns around, trying to figure out why he's suddenly interested. Captain looks at him sideways, asking how the hell he knows about that group when he's been knocked out for literal millennia. She figures the sect must have existed during his time too. The guy just blinks at her in surprise and wonders why nobody's freaking out in front of the Heavenly Demon sect. He says if they're really that squad, people should be bolting by now. Seryong responds, saying there's no reason to run. She admits the sect's got its flaws, but they still flex hard on being the top-tier orthodox and faith-driven sect in the universe, because they really are elite like that. Our guy keeps staring at her, shook. The words demon sect and orthodox in the same breath feels like a fever dream. Suddenly, it hits him his old dream, that weird empty one he always had. It might actually be real now. Meanwhile, Sanjin's still scanning the tavern crowd when he pauses, sensing something weird. A couple sitting near him glance back, thinking they're the target, but nope. His eyes are locked on a different dude sitting solo with his head down on the table. Sanjin strolls up and tells the guy to look up so he can see his face. Once the man looks up, the system pulls up his stats, internal energy sitting at 52.7 C. It also displays his martial arts skills and flashes a wanted label. Charges of level 2 robbery and assault. Sanjin tells him today's his lucky day, since he's not the target. He orders the man to hit up the Martial Alliance ASAP and turn himself in, adding that things will get ugly if he doesn't. But Sanjin's sentence cuts off mid-word. His eyes go wide. Something's off. A hand just landed on his head. Sanjin freezes, brain stalling, trying to process who had the audacity to not only get close, but actually touch his damn head. Turns out, it's our martial arts master. Dude starts patting Sanjin's head like he's some pet cat. He casually drops how admirable he looks, still giving his head a gentle pat like he's 5 years old. The master just smiles and says Sanjin's wild dream, the one that seemed impossible, is finally real now. Meanwhile, the whole tavern just freezes. Everyone's staring at this dude like he just walked into a lion's den, because nobody in their right mind dares to even breathe near a member of the demon sect. Some guys at the card table stop mid-game, realizing this is the kind of moment that screams incoming chaos. Our boy casually tells Sanjin that they've made his dream come true, calls them young ones, and starts simping hard over the Heavenly Demon sect, going on about how it's impressive they pulled this off. Then out of nowhere, he wraps Sanjin's head in a hug, being all sweet like he knows the pain these youngins had to endure to reach this level. Even the poor dude Sanjin was about to wreck just stands there blankly, trying to process this wholesome glitch in reality. Sanjin doesn't flinch and deadpants, asking if this weirdo's got a few brain cells missing. Robert jumps in to chill the vibe and explains that their friend isn't unstable or anything, just tragically bad at socializing. Sanjin isn't having it, calls our boy a child, and says today must be his lucky day. He tries to remove the kid's hand from his head, warning that if he'd sensed even a shred of martial energy from him, he would have shattered him on the spot. Sanjin starts tugging at those arms, but they're locked tighter than his patience. Dude's actually struggling. He ramps up the strength, but it's still not working. Robert peeks over and notices the Red Wolf gang leader looking real sweaty, so he asks Seryong what's going on. She says she's got no clue either. Sanjin cranks up the power using more force through his martial technique, but no dice. Now he's straight up cussing. He decides to go full beast mode, activates his internal energy system, and unleashes the Blood Wolf art at max drive. His eyes turn pure white, and he switches into demon mode. The pressure spikes hard, and he finally manages to launch the guy off him. He screams at him to quit screwing around. The power is wild. It explodes through the inn, knocking over tables and sending shockwaves everywhere. The onlookers stare in pure horror, realizing they're seconds away from witnessing a disaster. More people freeze, waiting to see how this plays out. Some of Sanjin's own goons just watch, mouths wide open. Our boy casually walks back to his friends and keeps about a meter of distance between himself and Sanjin, who looks like he's about to nuke the place. Sanjin starts cooling down once he notices the kids completely untouched. That's when he realizes just how much he messed up the shop. Seryong quietly tells Robert that it looks like the Red Wolf squad leader's been off his game lately, which might explain why he couldn't pry the kid off. Meanwhile, our guy just stands there, blank-faced, staring directly at Sanjin. The Red Wolf squad leader starts analyzing him, asking who the hell this guy even is. He can't wrap his head around how this dude tanked all that energy like it was nothing. He was supposed to be toast. To make things worse, the system scan shows no internal energy, no martial arts, no data, nothing. The dude isn't even in the system. Sanjin's brain short circuits. A totally natural human with zero eternal energy shouldn't even be alive. While he's still spiraling, Our guy casually cuts in his thoughts and tells him that the Blood Wolf demon art he just used is actually one of the baby-level techniques in the Heavenly Demon's body cultivation arsenal. But props to the sect for keeping alive. Then he throws in that the real problem is Sanjin's internal energy and chi aren't vibing right. Says it's clearly a training method issue. But hey, lucky day for Sanjin. He just met someone who can personally help him fix it. Once in a lifetime kind of deal. Sanjin gets even more pissed, calls him a full-on lunatic, and decides he's done talking. He summons this fiery, liquid-looking blaze and goes for the kill. Launches the first form of the Red Wolf Demon Claw, basically a flaming hand of death, and fires at the guy. But our boy just bends backward, dodges clean, and doesn't even move from his spot. Meanwhile, behind him, the fire rips through the inn, setting stuff ablaze and sending everyone into a panic as they start running for their lives. Sanjin's still on his villain arc, going full rampage mode and busts out another power called Red Wolf Explosion. But our guy just casually sidesteps it, hands still chilling in his pockets. That Red Wolf squad leader Sanjin is starting to lose his mind at this point, so he starts stacking powers like a maniac. He fires off Red Wolf Tremor Wave and Red Wolf Ghost Claw at the same time. But our boy weaves through it like he's dodging traffic cones. Sanjin's forehead veins are about to burst as he goes full throttle, throwing every brain cell an ounce of strength into taking this dude down. He even morphs one of his hands into some freaky demonic claw and surrounds himself with this raging demonic firestorm, fully ready to barbecue someone. Meanwhile, our guy's just vibing, watching this whole flashy meltdown unfold. He can tell Sanjin's got the internal juice in tight form, so he just keeps observing the dude go feral trying to land a hit. Eventually, he clocks that something's off with how Sanjin's pulling all off. The guy goes even harder, eyes glowing red like he unlocked his final phase, throwing out every move in his toolbox. Their guy finally snaps. He slaps his palm straight down on Sanjin's head like a sit-down button, telling him that's enough. That smack squashes Sanjin's skull like a marshmallow, and the poor guy craters into the floor like a failed meteor. His brain and skull look scrambled, and the impact leaves a giant hole like a mini comet smacked the tavern stone floor. The rest of the Red Wolf squad watches their boss eat gravel and look horrified. They're standing their jaws dropped, trying to process how their top dog just got his head pancaked into the floor. The tavern audience is frozen, eyes locked on the chaos, none of them expecting that wild plot twist. Seryong and Robert are just as stunned. This is their first time watching someone from the big deal Heavenly Demon sect get absolutely clowned. Sanjin just lies there, face planted and head perfectly lodged in the floor crater he made with his own body. And our guy, still not even breaking a sweat, just stares down at him with his hands deep in his pockets. He tells him that, yeah, you might have learned the moves, but you copied them like a damn parrot. Martial arts isn't just about mimicking moves. It's about owning them, adapting, making them yours. Then he tells Sanjin to get up and come at him again, if he really gets what that correction meant. But Sanjin's still down bad. Probably needs a surgeon more than a rematch. That martial arts master's done being nice and yells at him to get up. The rest of the Red Wolf squad just stands there, speechless, trying to figure out what the hell they just witnessed. Then they finally snap, demanding to know where he got the guts to come at their platoon leader. They call him a brat and charge in swinging, weapons and flashy martial arts flying everywhere, fully locked in on kill mode. And our MC, still standing there like a boss, with his hands in his damn pockets. A few moments later, we jump into the 32nd district of the Heavenly Demon sect. Everyone from the bar earlier, all the Demon sect guys, are straight up wrecked, still lying around the tavern, all sporting handprint dents on their skulls like someone used their heads as stress balls. The district commander's glued to the monitor, jaw nearly on the floor, clearly not processing what he's seeing. Meanwhile, a robot's scanning Sanjin, who's out cold. It's trying to peel his eyelids, open to check if the guy's even alive. Dude's nose and mouth are bleeding, half his teeth MIA. Sanjin and the rest of his crew get tossed on stretchers while other sect members slap up a do not cross line to keep the looky-loos from swarming the scene. Commander Jong Riddick is still watching the chaos go down, and he mutters how unreal it all feels. Then a senior elder named Joe Chunrick rolls up and says it's lucky that the injuries were just brutal beatdowns and no one kicked the bucket. John doesn't get how that's supposed to be lucky when everyone looks like they just got smacked around by a truck and might need a dozen surgeries. What really gets him is that this whole mess was caused by some random mystery guy. He stares at a picture of the new dude. Looks all innocent and soft, but the catch is that man's packing 2,000 years of raw skill and power. Zhang hits Joe with another round of disbelief, trying to wrap his head around the fact that their sect's Red Wolf platoon got folded by a total nobody. He also wants to know if this guy even exists in the Martial Alliance database. Joe tells him nope, the guy's off-grid, but his crew is in the system. Joe explains they're bounty hunters who go by the name S-Devil. They usually clean up low-tier, B-class trash criminals. Their leader is someone named Seryong, better known as the Blazing Devil. Over in the S-Devil aircraft, the new guy's just chilling at a table, napkin tucked in like a kid at dinner, knife and fork in hand, fully expecting a hot meal. Across from him sits Seryong and Robert, both just staring him down, unsure what to say or even think. Back in the Heavenly Demon District, Commander Zhang wants the lowdown on Seryong. Joe tells him she's a pretty known bounty hunter who bounces between orthodox and unorthodox circles like it's casual. He says after the brawl, they dip from the Wild Crane Inn, but they can still be tracked. Joe asks if they should send a squad to chase them down. Zhang waves him off and says he'll handle it himself. Joe just blinks at that, low-key confused but doesn't push. He gives a polite bow and exits, leaving Zhang alone to scheme. Zhang hits a button on the nearby panel, queuing up a call. The big screen lights up and starts connecting. He just waits there, calm and collected. Soon, a priestly-looking guy pops up, Kim Sung-bom, leader of the Greenwood Group. Dude gives a smile and greets Zhang, saying it's been a while and asking if there's something he needs. Zhang just frowns and stays quiet for a bit. Meanwhile, Seryong is off in the aircraft, zoning out while staring at the stars, trying to clear her head. Back in the 32nd District, it looks like Commander Zhang finished giving Kim the full rundown. Kim, still calm as ever, asks if the Greenwood Group should take care of this little situation.